This video is covering how goods are distributed in the network. This function is also known as deployment. When the materials that we have ordered during our DRP process arrive at the entry point of the network, we need to think about how to distribute it smart in the network. The process has mainly the same inputs than DRP, like forecasts, inventory, and from the inventory optimization, the safety stock, and the economic order quantity. Because deployment always executes a DRP in the background. This is mainly to ensure that we have the most actual numbers regarding net requirements for each level of the distribution network. The video will focus on push deployment because that shows best how eSPP enables a fast and also cost-efficient distribution of the products within the network. eSPP actually offers two deployment modes, pull and push deployment. Pull deployment triggers the distribution from a parent to a child location based on the available quantity at the parent and the requirements at the child. In opposite to that, push deployment enables a stock transfer directly from a goods receipt booking at a parent to all BOD levels. So we do not need to store the material into the bin and pull it out again. And therefore push deployment is faster than pull. I will start the demo now with a review of some prerequisites for automatic push deployment. So the first setting is the so-called deployment indicator that can be found on the product master that I'm opening right now. The demo product is actually eSPP_001_FRO, and we want to review the settings for location SPP1 because this is the location for which we want to set up automatic push deployment. We go in the eSPP deployment tab, and here we found the deployment indicator. There are actually three options for the deployment indicator. We can have it to plan push, plan pull, or pull only. And what the deployment indicator actually does is it controls, first of all, if a product is considered during deployment using a specific deployment mode, and what lead time is gonna be considered during deployment. And remember, I explained that push deployment is usually faster than pull deployment because we actually do not need to store the products first in a bin and then move it out. And therefore we can have different lead times over there. So when the deployment indicator is set to planned push, that means that the product will be considered in push and also in pull deployment node, but that always the push lead time is going to be used. When we have set it to planned pull, that means that the product is also considered using pull and also push deployment, but the system will consider the pull deployment lead time. When the indicator is set to pull only, that means that the product is not considered at all during push deployment, but just in pull deployment. The next setting is the so-called push deployment profile that can be found in the customizing, where we need to go now. We open customizing for extended service parts planning. We go into the deployment and we will open the push deployment profile. Right now we have just one profile maintained, and when we are looking at the parameters, we see that we have specified actually our demo product eSPP_001_FRO, and as a location we have specified SPP1. That means that only this location product combination is considered for automatic push deployment, and it means whenever we book a goods receipt for this product on that location, an automated stock transfer will be generated. Now let's try, first of all, to simulate a push deployment. For that, we are going into the deployment UI. And we first of all load our demo product. And we first want to review if there are already some stock transfer orders scheduled for this product. Not for this product, but for that. And you see there is nothing currently scheduled. Now we go into the deployment simulation for our test product. And we are opening the bill of distribution. And now what we are going to simulate right now is to book a goods receipt. We are just simulated, we do not really book it, of 1000 units on location SPP 1. Now what should happen when there is a demand on the virtual child or on the direct child SPP 7, this quantity of 1000 units should be pushed out to the child location that has actually a demand in the replenishment lead time. So let's simulate. Do not need to look at the logs. And now we see that the system would have generated a stock transfer order to the child location SPP 7. And because SPP 1 is just a virtual child, we keep the remaining quantity of this goods receipt on this location. Now when we are looking at the approvals, we still see that nothing is actually scheduled right now because we just did a simulation. Now let's really book a goods receipt for our test product. For that we are using, maybe this is a little bit old-fashioned, but we just do it with transaction Migo. And now we are booking a goods receipt for our test product. Of 1000 units. Movement type is 501 in location SPP 1. Okay, we check. We see posting is not possible in that period, so therefore, before we close now periods, we are just using some other periods, and now we post the goods receipt. Okay, now let's go back to our deployment UI, and maybe we are now loading again the data for our test product. And now we see that exactly the stock transfer that we have seen in the simulation has been created right now. This stock transfer order proposal is not yet transferred to the S4 system, so it's not yet processed because we have set up the system the way that every stock transfer order at the moment needs to be approved by a planner. Whenever I would go now on the accept button, this stock transfer would be processed. Thanks for your attention. Hope that you have now a little bit of an overview of automatic push deployment. If you are interested in fair share, just look out or watch out our video clip.